So let's receive a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, let it out and sigh. See if you can soften your shoulders down away from your ears just a bit more. Relax your jaw. If you have your forehead on the ground, maybe it would feel good to gently roll your forehead from side to side. And then relaxing the forehead, coming back to center. Start to draw your awareness to the channels that the breath is starting to dig. Notice if you're breathing mostly in your front ribs. See if you could extend your breath into the back body as well. Can you send your breath into your side waist? Can you send the breath into your deep belly? And even your sacrum. Breathing in. And breathing out. Keeping the awareness on your breath. And using this as your anchor for your practice today. Connecting with it, allowing it to expand into all the places that might have been overlooked since you've last practiced. Enjoying a few more rounds of breath here. And receiving one more inhale. And exhale to let it go. So from here, picking your head up slightly, making sure that you have the space at the top of the mat. Just gonna start to walk our hands over towards the top right corner. And then relax the head, relax the chest back down. See if you can ground into your left sits bones just a little bit deeper. You really start to open up that left side waist. And then as you expand your left side waist, send the breath into that area. Sweeping out any cobwebs that might have started to increase over the past few days. Maybe you stack your palms here. Relax your left shoulder heavily, breathing into the back of the shoulder blade. And release. And from here, start to slowly bring your hands underneath the shoulders, still staying slightly turned to the right. And then gently press yourself up. So the ribs are facing over the right thigh at this point, and we're just gonna deepen that a little bit. So we're gonna start to turn the ribs over towards the right side even more. Relax the left arm down. Maybe the right hand comes behind you, taking a twist here. So rolling the shoulders back, sitting up nice and tall, full breath in, and full breath out. Inhale. And exhale. Settle back into that left hip just a bit. One more round to sit tall. As you exhale, release, gently unwinding, coming back through center. And from here, we'll start to bring our forearms down to the mat. So almost like a child's pose hybrid here. We'll just take a few rounds of cat and cow here. So inhale, drop the belly, rolling the shoulders back. It's a little bit smaller than what we would do in tabletop. As you exhale, press the mat away, rounding the spine, drop the head last. Inhale, drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, lifting through the chest. And exhale to round. 3 more rounds just like that. See if you can really ground through your elbows and your hips. Moving with your own breath, no rush here. So it's really nice about practicing at home. There's no one you have to keep up with here. And then whenever you finish with that last exhale, inhale back to your neutral spine. Start to bring your hands back in. And then from here, fall over to your left hip and just extend the legs long. So just giving a little release to the knees here since they were bent, since there was pressure on them. You can bounce the knees just a little bit here, maybe stretch out, holding forward. Maybe rolling through the heels a bit, just releasing. And take a moment to pause, legs nice and long. Draw your hands down alongside your hips, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, flex through your feet, find Dandasana staff pose. Receive a deep breath in and deep breath out. Inhale and exhale. So breathing into all those posture muscles we've been using to sit around with. And then relax your staff pose, let your limbs become soft. Roll over to one hip, and we'll get set up for the other side. So if you were in a cross-legged seat, you'll just move the opposite leg on top this time. So heading back into our child's pose, if that's the variation you took before. Relaxing the arms out nice and long. 3 rounds of breath here, nice and slow. Relax the shoulders. Last round. And then from here, begin to walk yourself over towards the top left corner of the mat this time. Maybe the hands come off the mat, maybe they stay on. The depth of your stretch is up to you. Wherever you are, anchor your right hip down in space. It's up to you if you want the elbows soft or if you want to press into the hands and lift the elbows up here, your choice. Once again, breathing into the side waist. So what can you do here? What adjustments could you make to the depth of the stretch so that you can send the breath into the right side ribs here? And then onto the back body, right behind the right shoulder blade. One more round. And then from here, start to bring your hands under your shoulders. And then slowly press yourself up. And so again, from here, our ribs are starting to point over towards that top left thigh. So we're just going to increase that a bit. So we're going to bring our right hand across the left thigh, using it as a lever, and we're going to twist open to the left. Maybe relaxing that left hand down, rolling the shoulders back, sitting up nice and tall, full breath in and full breath out. Inhale and exhale. One more. And then from here, falling off to the right hip this time, we'll take our Sphinx pose, cat and cow with the legs extended this time, just to release them a bit. So from here, if it feels okay, you can lower to your forearms or you can bring just your hands down. It's totally up to you. See if you can flex through your feet. Keep them nice and active. Inhale to lengthen your spine and then drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, lift the gaze. Exhale, press the mat away, round the spine, maybe the elbows lift up. Inhale, drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. And exhale to round the spine. 2 more rounds. Inhale, coming back to your neutral spine. Gathering yourself to just a comfortable seat here. If it feels good, maybe you close the eyes, drawing the hands through heart center. Connecting with yourself before we start to flow. Perhaps comparing the difference in the past few moments between now and when we started class. Is there a shift that happened? If not, that's okay. And start to think about what you need to take out of your practice today. The beauty of practicing at home is you can tailor it in any way you need to. So just do a quick body scan here. Notice if there are any places that are cranky or tight. Maybe your intention today is softening into those spaces. Whatever your intention is for your practice today, setting that now for yourself. Receiving a deep breath in and letting it go. Releasing the hands down, blinking the eyes open. From here, we're gonna head towards tabletop, hands and knees. So if you need to pad up underneath the knees, I like to just because it feels nice and it's kind. And then stacking your joints here. Spreading your fingers wide, starting at the base. Making sure that the pad of the thumb, where the thumb connects to the hand, is deeply rooted. And then making sure that your wrists are underneath your shoulders. Soften your elbows just a bit here, especially if you hyperextend. Roll your shoulders back. Notice how that puffs the floating ribs towards the mat. See if you can engage them slightly here, drawing them back in. And then making sure your knees are stacked under your hips, toes tucked or untucked, totally your choice. And then from here, 2 rounds of cat and cow. Inhale, drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, lifting up. Exhale to round, so lots of movement for the spine today. Inhale, lift up, and exhale. Inhale, back to neutral spine. We're gonna do a few stretches for the wrists. A lot of us are working from home now on laptops, so it could just feel nice to give them a little stretch. So we'll take the palms and we'll flip the palms up towards the sky so that the fingertips are pointing back towards the knees. Now, if this is painful for you, you can always back up and put more pressure on the knees. You can face the fingertips closer to each other, so lots of ways to modify here. If it feels okay for you and you can still breathe, maybe you start to trace some small circles. So moving forward, over to the left, and then back, and then reversing left, forward, back, and then reversing again, right, top of the mat, left, and seated. And last time, left, forward, right, and back. And then just take a moment, release the pressure off of your hands, circle out your wrists. And then from here, moving towards downward facing dog when you're ready. So moving the hands closer towards the top of the mat, maybe stretching into high plank, and then releasing yourself up and back. Then just making sure in your downward facing dog that you're accessing it with breath, moving through anything that needs to be moved, right? So pedaling out the feet here, shaking the head, maybe rolling the shoulders back, And then finding some space to slowly settle yourself down. Bend the knees deeply here. Soften the elbows, press the mat away. Lift the hips just a little bit higher. Deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. If you can draw your ears just energetically towards your thumbs, making sure that your biceps are in line with your face. Full breath in. And full breath out. On your next inhale, ripple forward to a high plank, top end of a push-up. And from here, lower the knees, grounding down through the hands, tipping yourself slightly forward, drop the chest, drop the chin, Ashta Pranam, 8-point prayer. And just breathe into the ribs here. Inhale and exhale. Ground through the tops of the feet, slither the pelvis down, roll the shoulders back. Find baby cobra here, keep it low, elbows hugging back. Relax the neck, breathing in and breathing out. Inhale. And exhale, release the head. Tuck the toes. Press yourself up and back. Downward facing dog. And settle into your breath. Noticing if anything needs to be moved. Maybe you prefer to stay in stillness. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. So moving through 2 more vinyasas here. Inhale, ripple forward. Exhale, lower the knees with control. Sink the chest and the chin down to the mat. Inhale, ripple forward. Elbows hugging back. Full breath in. Exhale to release, nice and slow. Tuck the toes. Press up and back. Downward facing dog. So again, nothing to keep up with here, no one else to keep up with here, except for your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, travel forward, high plank. As you exhale, lower the knees with control. Peeking slightly forward here. Maybe Ashta Pranam, maybe modified Chaturanga, hugging the elbows in and sinking the shoulders down. Inhale, sweeping forward to a back bend of your choice, whatever feels good for you today. Receive a round of breath here. Let it go. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Noticing the effects. Your next inhale, to lift the right leg high to the sky. As you exhale, draw your right knee in towards your nose. And then back it off slightly so your knee's about towards the middle of your mat. Descend your right knee, turn your right toes out towards the right side of the mat. So we're heading towards modified side plank here. So our left toes are facing the left side of the mat, so it kind of looks like warrior 2 foot back there. And then grounding down through your right hand, roll your right shoulder away from your face, extend your left arm up towards the sky. Full breath in, full breath out. Inhale. And exhale. On your next inhale, see if you can extend that left arm over your face, stretching out from fingertips to the edge of that back foot. Full breath in and full breath out. So from here, peek down at your right hand, start to engage your core. I'm gonna lead with the left fingertips, slowly rise up. So moving towards a gate pose here. You're gonna relax the left arm down the left leg, extend the right arm up towards the sky, but relax that right shoulder. And then when you're ready, Exhale, extend over your left leg. So nice stretch for that right side body. See if you can spin your chest up towards the sky. Move your hips slightly forward in space. Full breath in. As you exhale, take your right hand, release it down towards the mat. Bring your left hand down to meet it. So now we're heading towards half water bug here. So this is more of a yin-based posture. We won't be here for a full 5 minutes, maybe 1 minute or so. But options here, you can stay built up on your hands, or maybe you lower to your forearms. You're also welcome, if you have a bolster or a blanket, you can place that under your chest or head if it's pretty close. Just notice here what bubbles up. A pretty intense stretch for that outer hip and that inner left leg. So breathing into any discomfort here. Remember, the discomfort that we experience on the mat can increase our capacity for discomfort off the mat. So stay with your breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. Noticing where you can soften. Can you relax your shoulders away from the ears? Can you soften your jaw? What about the belly? Can you send your breath into your belly? All the way down the length of that left leg. Inhale. And exhale. 3 more rounds of breath. When you're ready, on your next inhale, slowly start to build yourself up to your hands, making sure that your wrists are stacked right underneath your shoulders. If you have a blanket or a bolster or a cushion, if you want, you can bring that closer to where, just slightly above where your head is going to be. So we'll use that in a moment. If not, you'll probably be okay without it. So we'll ground down through the right hand. Inhale, release your left arm up towards the sky. As you exhale, we're going to draw this left arm underneath the right. So threading the needle here. If you can't reach the floor with your head, totally fine. Stop where you can breathe. We'll be here for a few rounds of breath. If it's more comfortable for you to draw that left leg in and breathe there, for a more traditional pose, you're welcome to. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more rounds. Last one. Rounding into your right hand on your next inhale. Sweep your left arm up towards the sky. Big stretch. Exhale, soften back down. And then from here, hand over hand your way towards the top of the mat. Then tuck your left toes, and then extend your right leg back behind you. Downward facing dog, take your time. So option here for a vinyasa if your body is calling for it. If you'd prefer not, that's fine too. Settling back into your downward facing dog. Your next inhale, sweep your left leg high to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose, shifting over the shoulders. Backing off slightly, releasing your left knee down about halfway into your mat. Turning your left toes out. Drawing your right leg long, and then making sure that your right foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Peek down at your left hand. Move your left hand just a little bit forward here so it's not directly underneath the shoulder. And then when you're ready, inhale, extend your right arm up towards the sky. Modified side plank. Full breath in, full breath out. Notice how much weight you're dumping into that left shoulder. Soften it a bit. One more big breath in. As you exhale, extend your right arm overhead, spinning the chest towards the sky. Maybe moving the hips slightly forward. One more inhale. And exhale. So peeking down at your left hand, we're going to lead with this right arm. Engage the core, slowly rise up to your gate pose. And from here for a moment, just draw your hands to your hips. It might help to reset them just a bit. So start to draw the hips slightly forward in space. Releasing then your right arm down the length of your right leg. Extending left arm up towards the sky, full breath in. Exhale, lean over your right long leg. So again, check back in with the hips, shift them forward, chest spins up, shoulders are soft, breath is deep. Inhale and exhale. Peeking down towards the mat, gently release your left hand down, mirror it with your right. Setting up for a half water bug on this side. So from here, hands can stay on the mat, or you can soften yourself down to your forearms. See if you can find a micro bend in that right knee. Keeping it nice and soft. Relax your head. Staying with your breath. Noticing where the mind goes when the body starts to still. Noticing the places that you could soften into here. So maybe the shoulders, maybe the belly. Let's receive 3 more rounds of breath. And after your third exhale, whenever you get there, take your time, there's no rush. Start to build yourself back up to your hands if you lower. And this time, threading the needle on the other side, so grounding down through that left hand. Release your right arm up towards the sky, but keep your hips moving back in space. Exhale, thread the right arm underneath the left, relaxing the head down if that's comfortable for the breath. Right? When the breath starts to get shallow, that's your cue to back out. If you prefer to draw that right knee underneath the right hip, you're welcome to. Breathing here wherever you are. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more rounds. From here, grounding into that left hand. And gently releasing, unwinding yourself up. Releasing that right hand back down. And then from here, Hand over hand your way towards the top of the mat. Turning those right toes back in space, releasing the left leg, and then we'll meet in downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. On your next inhale, release your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, draw your right knee in towards your nose, and then draw your right shin towards parallel with the top of the mat. So starting to settle into some longer holds here. So we'll set up for pigeon or sleeping swan as it's referred to in yin. So you know your body best, you know where you need to prop up, maybe underneath that right hip, maybe underneath the head or the arms. See if you can draw your hip points forward in space so you start to feel the stretch in that right outer hip. Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, full breath in. As you exhale, keep that sensation in the right hip as you start to fold forward. So maybe your head is slightly lifted up off the mat here. Can you find a single point for your gaze to focus on? And if your head is down, if your eyes are closed, maybe your single point of focus is your breath. And sinking into that discomfort in the right outer hip. And if you can't feel it, see if you can draw your right shin closer to parallel with the top of the mat. If it's almost painful, draw your right heel closer in towards your pelvis. So finding that Goldilocks spot for that discomfort, just so that you can breathe through it. And sinking into it, knowing that you won't be here forever. And finding the places that you can soften in around. So even though I can't be there with you in this pose, imagine I was coming around to offer adjustments. So a pretty common one, taking the hands just to the tops of the shoulders, right where the shoulders meet the neck, and then moving the shoulders down and away from that space. So imagine I was doing that right now. Can you move the shoulders in that direction, soften them down, almost as if I was actually there. Another common place to offer adjustments is on the hips. So imagine if I drew my hand to your right outer hip and encouraged it down towards the mat. And then from that space, keeping that right hip nice and heavy, can you also encourage the left hip point down towards the mat? Deepen your breath. So we'll be here for about another minute. Receive 3 transitional breaths, nice and slow. Make them different from how you were breathing in the pose before. Make them a little deeper. And after your 3rd exhale, nice and slow, start to draw yourself up back to your hands. And then from here, releasing out however you like. So maybe it's downward facing dog, maybe it's fire hydrant pose, circling out that hip. Maybe it's a child's pose, maybe it's a vinyasa. And then we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Take your time getting there, no rush. Maybe that right hip feels a little heavier, a little more open than the left. We'll start to even out the 2 sides of the body. When you're ready, inhale, sweep your left leg up. Exhale, left knee to nose, use control. And then gently release your left shin towards parallel, towards the top of the mat. Prop up where you need to. This side might be a little bit different, that's okay. When you have your props arranged, find your alignment here. So notice that sensation in the left outer hip. If you don't feel it, try to encourage that left shin closer to parallel. And then rolling your shoulders back, making sure your hip points are moving forward in space. When you're ready, exhale, release. Maybe you lower it down. Try to keep that same sensation in the left hip. And soften into your breath. Finding something to focus your awareness on. Keeping your right side just as heavy as your left here. And then imagining you were back at the studio. What would the adjustment feel like to have hands placed just on top of the shoulders, right by the neck, and softening them down away from the ears? What does that do to the breath? Does it change it in any way? And imagine an encouraging hand on your left hip, softening it down towards the mat. So increasing that discomfort, stay with it. And then adding on an extra layer, can you also soften your right hip point closer to the mat? And stay with the discomfort. About another minute here. Receive 3 transitional breaths. Make them different, make them deeper. And taking your time, whenever you reach the bottom of that third exhale, slowly draw yourself up. Remove your props. And then rinse out however you like. What's also nice about being at home, you can make these rinse out shapes as weird as you need to. And then when you feel even-ish, we'll start to head down towards the mat. So allowing yourself to soften. Make sure you have your props handy. So laying down, bending the knees and placing the feet on the mat. Setting up for a gentle backward bend. So we're going to head towards supported bridge for our next yin posture. So if you have it, a block is really nice. If you have a pillow or a blanket instead, you're welcome to place those underneath the sacrum as well. So we'll lift the hips here, snug whatever support you have handy, the flat part of your low back, your sacrum. And then lots of options here. If you have the space at home, maybe you stretch out through the legs. If that's too much for the low back, don't do it, obviously. And then maybe you take your arms overhead. So whatever feels sustainable. I don't want to say if it feels good, but if it feels sustainable for the next couple minutes or so. So you should feel some sensation in the low back here. And if you found that sensation, you can still breathe through it. This is a really good place to be. Some people prefer to have maybe a pillow or the blanket under the head for these shapes. That's totally fine as well. So supporting yourself where you need support. And then coming back to your breath. Notice here if you're holding any tension in your shoulders. What would it take for you to soften them down away from the ears, heavying them a little bit closer to the mat? Most of our breath awareness is being directed towards the belly. But don't neglect the side waist here. Don't forget about the lung tissue on the back of the body as well. So sending your breath out into all directions in your torso. And using your breath as your point of focus here. Draw your awareness to your sacrum. So many muscle fibers surrounding that space. Are you holding tension there without even realizing it? Can you soften into them, relaxing onto your support, relying on it a little bit more? We'll be here for about another minute. For this last minute, if you're comfortable here or if it feels sustainable here, you're welcome to stay as you are. If you're interested in a passive inversion, maybe you start to draw the knees into the chest and then extend the legs up towards the sky for supported shoulder stand. Totally optional. If you're happy where you are, stay where you are. Receive 3 transitional breaths. After that third exhale, take your time. Soften your knees. If they're not already, placing your feet on the mat. When your feet ground down, press into them. Lift the hips up. And soften the length of your spine down towards the mat. And take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And from here, releasing your arms to a T or to cactus, whatever you have the space for, whatever feels better. Gathering the knees to the chest, and then gently releasing them over towards the left side. So whatever variation of your twist here would feel good, go ahead and take that. Maybe you thread the legs, maybe that bottom left leg extends long. It's totally up to you. If you like, you can turn your gaze over your right shoulder or keep it up towards the sky. Whatever variation you've decided to take here, see if you can just soften that right shoulder down as much as your left. breathing in and breathing out. One more round here. On your next inhale, gently gather yourself back through center. Keep your shoulders heavy. Use your core. Soften your legs over towards the right side. And relaxing the thighs when they meet the mat or the floor. Choosing a variation that suits your body. And keeping that left shoulder nice and heavy, breathing into the space. Inhale. And exhale. And one more round here. And on your inhale, gather yourself back through center. Any final movements or stretches that you would like to take here? Maybe happy baby, maybe stretching out through the legs, through the arms. And then maybe going in search of some of the props that you have around you, making your Shavasana space really comfortable here. So using all the comforts of home to find a shape that supports your body after your practice. And then when you have the setup that you like, relaxing yourself back and into it. Receiving one more deep breath in. Exhale, letting it go. Shavasana. Receive a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Slowly begin to draw your sensory awareness to the smells, the sounds, the feel of home. And drawing your awareness back into your body. And gently rolling your head from side to side. Wiggling fingers and toes. Inviting larger movements into the body. When you're ready, take your time. Gathering your knees into your chest and rolling over to the right side. Taking a moment to offer a word of gratitude to your body for carrying you through your practice. Receive a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. When you're ready, press into one palm, rise up to a comfortable seat, keeping the eyes softly closed. Gathering the hands to heart center, bowing the chin to the chest. Knowing that whatever discomfort you might experience in the next few days or weeks, your practice has prepared you for it. And from here, drawing the hands, the thumbs up to the space between the brows. Lift the heart, inhale. Exhale, bowing forward. Namaste. Thank you so much. I can turn. There we go.